Sister Edna Walter was born in 1896 in Macton, Ontario, one of 7 children. Foreshadowing her love of nature, she was appropriately baptized by the name of Violet. She entered the congregation of the Sisters of St. Joseph of Hamilton in 1916. Most of Sister Edna's ministry work was in the House of Providence, where she worked at many needed tasks in the kitchen, the laundry, in the farm garden, and later as an aide to the elderly residents. After welcoming many through the gates of the House of Providence, Sister Edna retired in 1970 to St. Joseph's Villa, where her interests were praying for others and visiting residents there. In 1996, Sister Edna celebrated her 100th birthday, as well as her 80th Jubilee as a Sister of St. Joseph. These paintings were created by Sister Edna and depict the love that she had for the outdoors in her Garden of Providence. Sister Edna died at St. Joseph's Villa on March 14, 1998, at the age of 101. We remember her for her cheerful manner, deep prayer life, and caring dedication to the elderly.
Well, Sister Edna was always very considerate of others and concerned that she didn't take too much of their time. And when she was very ill and dying, and I was with her one evening, she said to me, "Sister Superior, now I want you to go to bed tonight and get a good sleep. I will be here in the morning." A good example of how thoughtful she was of others.
And I loved Sister Edna like a second mother. She was always so kind and beautiful and very patient. I never knew her to say a bad word or unkind word to anyone.
My earliest memories of Edna are the old House of Providence and how she would walk around and round and round. I think she knew every blade of grass that ever grew on the property there, and she cared for every blade of grass. She was an environmentalist ahead of her time. I believe that. She knew when the first crocus would come and where the first crocus was going to be, and she had a great love for the grounds. That's what I remember about her there.
When each sister received a little chocolate Easter bunny at the table, almost immediately Sister Edna looked over at me and she said, give this rabbit, this chocolate rabbit, to your brother John." So I thanked her very much. She was so generous and thinking of other people all the time.
Like a tree that grows so tall from a tiny seed, we're reaching higher still to fill a great need.
And she was always talking to everybody. You know, she was always interested in what they had to say, and she would talk to them. And she used to go outside, and she'd sit and read the paper and walk around with this cane. But everybody she saw, she talked to them. And I think the thing that impressed me most for her was that she was always so grateful to everybody what they did for her. I remember one time we were having a sing-song in the community room, and I went down the hall and she's sitting there and she's making chili sauce. And I said to her, "Why didn't you stay for the sing-song?" "Well, you know," she says, "my niece brought me some jam, and I didn't like to just give the empty bottle back, so I thought I'd make chili sauce with the money, with the bottle."
She loved to play the piano, and one of the things she did very often was play some of the old hymns out of the St. Basil's hymn book, which was edited in 1893. And there were many beautiful old hymns in that book, and they were very high-pitched, but beautiful and wonderful for soloists. Sister would play many times during the day. One morning, I was saying my morning prayer at 6:30 in the dark corner of the TV room. And all of a sudden, around the corner came the loud strains of the piano, which really didn't help my contemplation at all, or anybody else's that were in the chapel at that time. So that is one time we had to curtail Sister Edna and have her do her practices later in the day, because most of us did our praying early in the morning, because it was always a busy day in the villa and usually noisy when staff came on and so on. However, she continued her playing, but she used to smile when she thought of interrupting everybody's prayer so early in the morning with her hymns.
Reaching out our hands to you, doing what we have to do, show that we care, giving our heart and soul to those everywhere.
I have known Sister Edna for a long, long time. I often came to the House of Providence when Sister Edna was here, and Sister Edna worked with my sister, Sister Barbara, in the gardens, and they worked very, very hard, and I really enjoyed being with them. All these years, Sister Edna has never lost her smile, and what I admired most of all was the way she prayed. It was a pleasure to see her in the chapel.
Like a tree that grows so tall from a tiny seed, we're reaching higher still to fill a great need. We're all the branches of a great family tree.
She had a contemplative stance to her life, very prayerful thing, and in that way that I believe she communed with God and nature very closely. And they're really the memories I have of her. She was a quiet person to live with, and always gracious, a loving smile, the hospitality that we're encouraged to have as a sister of St. Joseph. So she had that balance in her life, I believe, of being a contemplative person, but very much alive to the world around her, especially the environmental world.
Working together, serving our community, building a dream, watching it grow, helping everybody, young and old.
I knew Sister Edna as a woman of very deep and very simple faith. She lived very close to her God and spent many silent hours in her retirement years praying for our residents and staff. It was here that she learned to love everyone and respect them as a child of God.
Most of our time was fun time, enjoyment time. And I know from hearing from the other sisters that she worked many years on the floor with the elderly people. She lived a long time, but I think a lot of that was due to her lifestyle, that she got outside, she exercised, she ate well, and she enjoyed life generally. And she was loved by everyone, the staff and the sisters, and everyone who met her.
I came to Dundas in the fall of 1961, and I remember being welcomed very warmly by Sister Edna Walter. And in reflecting this past day or day and a half on Sister's life, I guess for me, she always had the likeness of St. Joseph. She was a woman of few words, but they were always kind, they were always gentle, they were always loving. Sister treated everybody the same, those who might be seen as the richest right down to those who were the poorest of the poor. And I remember that Sister in the House of Providence was in charge of a men's dormitory down on the ground floor, which was a 15-bed dormitory. And it wouldn't be anything for Sister to be down there, perhaps any hour of the day, or more specifically of the night, when somebody might be ill or they might be upset or anxious about something. And she might be you might see her going down there with a bowl of soup or perhaps a cup of warm milk to somebody who wasn't feeling well. And I remember that we had a gentleman, and I don't even remember now what his name was, but we all called him Chicken Joe. And he loved Sister, and Sister loved him. And I never ever remember him saying anything other than a grunt or a moan or something. But, you know, she was so very kind to him. And, you know, she would go, we had chickens at the time, and that was how Joe was named. And, you know, Sister was always looking out for him, watching out for him. Billy Pritchard, Jerome, Carl Drowan, Mr. Calarco, who we used to call Mr. Cigarette Butt, you know, all those wonderful, wonderful, simple people. She loved them and she cared about them. She cared for them, really with the same care and love that she had for every one of us, you know, when she would come from downstairs doing her work to upstairs to being with the sisters on the first floor in the House of Providence and the, the fifth floor here. And I remember, too, Sister's love of nature. And I understand that, you know, in her earlier days as a sister, she had been quite ill, and she spent some time, I think, in the sanatorium. And I think one of the doctor's prescriptions was that she was to get out every day. And Sister went outside every day, summer, winter, rain, shine, it didn't matter when. At some point during the day, you could look outside and she would be out there. But I also think there was something deeper in that. I think it was her love of nature, her love of all that God had created and provided. In the raspberry season, we had a barn here at one time, and we had a raspberry patch, which most of us hated because it meant that you got picked and scraped picking raspberries. But you'd see Sister out there under this great big straw hat, and she would pick raspberries and the currants. She'd go over in the orchard and pick the apples and the pears in the orchard, and, you know, she'd be cooking up something for somebody. But I think what I remember and loved most of all about her was her quiet, gentle, caring way, and how she looked upon everybody as important and unique. They were the most important person to her at the time that she was speaking with them or caring for them or ministering to them. And so I think for me that's really what the mission of the now villa and also the Sisters of St. Joseph is all about. And also she certainly was a wonderful role model, a very prayerful person. You go to chapel anytime, day or night, and she would be there. So she was, I think that she walked very closely with her God and certainly lived the life of a Sister of St. Joseph to the fullest possible.
Building a dream, watching it grow.